Disability rights campaigner Martin Sibley joins us now, along with consumer rights expert Emma Munbode. Martin, you're part of Rights on Flights, which was launched to combat accessibility and safety barriers for disabled travellers. From your research and your experience, why are these situations happening in the first place?
It's very systemic. So obviously airlines sell the ticket to someone like myself as a customer, but then they're working with airports who then work with the ground handlers and with the assistant staff. And so there's just a lot of misinformation between them, or lack of passing on the information, lack of communication. Another big one around the financial side is the Montreal Convention. And that's essentially, if someone's luggage is broken, there's a cap on how much the airline would reimburse the customer, about £1,300. My wheelchair is £20,000. So you can see where there's little examples there of how this is causing so many problems for disabled people.
What changes would you like to see? Because I imagine there must be a few.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, one part is legislation, trying to enact it. Another part is actually getting wheelchairs on the plane. And some quite big news has just come out that we're looking, hopefully by the end of 2025, the FAA in America are saying that wheelchairs would be able to be tied down to the plane with obviously a bit of space for the wheelchair to go. So these kind of things would be huge steps forward.
Until then, what's the advice you give to disabled air passengers travelling with all sorts of different mobility aids?
Yeah, so there is a process when you buy a ticket to give the information. So I've got saved off the dimensions and weight of my wheelchair, so that's ready to go when I book the ticket. And then other than that, it's maybe like having a little sign on your wheelchair that explains how to, maneuver it or push it. So when the ground crew are putting it in the hold, they're a little bit more empowered how to not damage the chair, and even to put it in the language if you're flying to another country as well.
What about you, Emma? It sounds like really good advice for anyone putting anything precious in the hold. What would your advice be?
So in general, I would always say make sure you have travel insurance, and make sure you let your travel insurance know exactly what you're travelling with and the value of what you're travelling with. And it also might be worth checking in early if you can. Some airlines will allow you to do that in advance for free. If you've got special circumstances, that will obviously give you peace of mind too. So always ask. There is often mobility seating and specialist seating towards the front of the aircraft. So just make sure you're aware of what is available before you travel.
Thank you very much indeed, Emma and Martin. Thank you so much for telling us more about the Rights on Flights campaign. Thank you both.